this
We
week?
just got done with one meeting. Yeah, he's here.
Oh, okay.
We had a 1 o'clock meeting.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, that's.
So did I, but it was a smaller one, so,
Yeah, that's why I was here. It's like that.
okay. It's okay with you guys if we wait for him until he gets here then?
I just probably sooner than that. As far as I know, he was gonna be, because he said, he had a meeting around the corner. Did you see
I
it?
passed him in the hallway. I assumed he was going to the men's room or something.
We'll give 5 minutes, and then was Ashley coming too?
Yes. Just a very busy day.
I get it.
Would you?
So are we clear to, tour some of the buildings?
Yeah, that would be Jersey, yeah.
Is it okay if you just tell me the time that you're in?
Yeah, yep.
You wanna go for a tour?
Sorry. No. Is that how this chair?
I don't know how long Ashley's gonna be, so don't wait for her, for Ashley.
Okay. We're all here, all right.
He was.
He's here.
He just, yeah, we'll wait.
Yeah, game one, you lose one.
Bolt the doors.
Hey, wait in the elevator.
Gene, they did talk to Mr. West on the phone.
Oh, okay.
He did cleanings coming in to pay all his back rent and pays his taxes tomorrow.
Excellent, excellent. Okay. Does he know I won't be here for? I can do that actually, or we can get something to the treasurer's office so they know.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And I did not have anything back from Cheryl.
Okay. And I talked to her today, just, let her know we were gonna be coming through, to see if she had any issues there, but, yeah, I didn't think that,
Yeah.
ask her, but that might be something where she has to talk with the board a little bit too. We could, do a contingent.
Yeah, yeah,
Board will, of course.
yeah. Well, the only message
Pardon?
was for
Where's our office?
or for, gates, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'll just.
I've got 304.
Me too.
So we'll wait another minute, we're going to 3:05, and then we're gonna start it up. I don't know where you went.
There was gonna be one, last night if they had the playoffs there, but they didn't get high enough in the ratings, so we're gonna have one. We just don't know when yet.
I just put that on there.
At least one.
Did you get one?
They're good.
Not that I need it.
Yeah, me neither. Especially you sit there and make sure all French fries are good.
Oh, yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
Quality control.
Not the judge.
Well, it's 3:05, so let's call this meeting to order. Is there any public comment? Any public comments? One more time, any public comments? All right, hearing none, we'll move on. The approval of the minutes from last meeting, did everybody get a chance to look through that?
I'll move approval of the minutes.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the minutes from May 30th, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. Okay, we'll move on to the facility manager's report. Who will be able to do that?
I don't have the status of any of those projects.
I don't either.
Go ahead.
I did meet with, Rob Novak, I think he's kind of heading it up right now, out of Gates, kind of go over what I got approved.
Yep,
As
as far as the
fencing
driveway and the fence, and
Yeah, he said he still thought they'd be able to get to it, although he didn't mention being a little short staffed. The city did, offer use of, our skid steer. We'd insisted, one of our guys driving.
Yep.
We just provide that labor and stuff, and we're worried about getting compensated for that, so did let him know that they needed another guy for the driveway. So he said he'd get a hold of me and get ready to grab.
did he have any idea when he'd be able to move with that, or?
Didn't give me any firm, no. But, we haven't gotten our signed lease back by Origin either, so,
Oh, you haven't?
no.
Okay.
It might be a couple weeks later, getting in there.
Did you and he, or you and somebody check on availability of fencing on the mining front?
He told me that there was a big pile over off the Blackberry Lane, and the gravel pit or something. It seemed that maybe the county used to utilize that, so I don't know if that was the county share, or, you know, there's stuff in there that got taken off the mining property, but for the fencing here, we just went up to the city's pile, there's ample fencing there. But it's pretty easily accessible.
Okay, alright. Well, guess we'll move on to the animal shelter. The compliance issues, I think this is the third month we've kind of touched on this with the ADA compliance. So, my understanding was we were looking for clarification on just what ADA compliance was out there. Because, I mean, does a doorbell suffice? Can, you know, that type of thing, or do we have to go full bore with a automatic door and?
Yeah, Mr. Gorson talked to me a little bit about the door situation, and he explained that, as long as it takes between 3 to 5 pounds of force to open the door, then you don't need an opener or a notification system of any sort,
Okay,
so,
But has anybody tested it to determine?
I don't know if anybody's tested
Did
it.
he tell you, what kind of a tester is necessary?
Did not.
Anything that, like a fish deal or anything?
I'm sure you could have somebody come in and do those checks.
Didn't you know somebody that did audits and stuff like that?
I was gonna just ask the mayor.
My oldest daughter actually does that for Wisconsin Center for Independent Living. Russ County is in their operating area.
Is there a cost associated with that to bring them in for this? or-
I don't know, you'd have to get in touch with them and find out.
But she would be able to determine what was necessary to bring that into ADA compliance.
Oh, yeah, she's worked in the area before, she looked at the Bruce Library.
Can we get some contact info from you to
Yeah, I can get
pass to
you.
the animal shelter staff to get in contact and have them work through that?
Right,
Yeah, I can get contact.
because I don't see any reason why the animal shelter, the committee, whoever could do that, or we could authorize them to do that.
If there's no cost, I don't think there's anything we need to
Right,
involve ourselves.
but let's get them on the right track with that, because we're just spinning our wheels with this if we don't get something done. Is there anything else about the animal shelter that needs discussion, that didn't hit the agenda.
Has there been any updates to they're just at a fundraising point for the addition?
That's my understanding.
I think there's something going on at,
Oh,
Ace
Ace Hardware is having their 100th anniversary, and apparently they are allocating half of their revenues. I'm not sure if it's half of the till
On
or if
Friday.
it's half of their profits to,
something on Friday,
yeah, but it's on Friday.
yeah. He announced that, right?
Right, Terry announced that in the meeting the other night. So, okay, let's move on to the library. What's the status of that window? Nobody knows.
I come here for information.
Pardon?
I said I come here for information, so I got nothing.
Last time,
It's not missing, the frame was bent, so now it's not usable.
glass had been replaced, but the frame was bent, which didn't allow the windows to be opened as they originally did, so I'd say the cure was inadequate.
And wasn't that a new window?
Yes.
So why are we dinking around with this and not having whoever put it in replace it? If they're the ones that bent it and damaged it, then it should be on them to replace it.
Probably part of the problem is, it was manufactured by Weathershed, probably originally installed by them as a gift. But the, Clark Light Builders was responsible for the rehabilitation project, and it was one of their subcontractors, which actually did the damage there.
Okay,
Put the thumb on the subcontractor to get it working.
okay,
And I was expecting, an answer, but no, I haven't had it.
all right. Is there any way we can lean on them a little bit?
They're just finishing up the contract with the city, with the final payment.
I mean, if they're responsible, I mean, they should do it all the company.
We have insurance for that, if it's, if they, it's.
Right,
it's not
I mean,
enough
you
to
know
make
how
an
this
insurance
works,
claim,
so.
right, yeah. It's not enough to make an insurance claim,
Then it's your deductible and you pay it off.
I'll try to follow up on that once again.
I appreciate that. Jamie, do you have a financial report for us?
Well, I emailed you guys out those,
Yep.
you know, I don't technically have the oversight over that budget, but, you know, just for, the revenue should be up to date, cause we post those weekly, but as far as the expenses go, the utilities, there's usually late because we don't get billed.
Mhm.
Just kind of take those operating results with a grain of salt, because, well, I updated that report this week. Our general ledger doesn't have the most current expenses in there.
Okay. I did have a question. So, looking back at some of the older documents, some that you had sent me, and what I've been able to look at, so, correct me if I'm wrong, the county paid initially $3 million out of the mining fund for renovation for some of the buildings. Fritz, I believe it was.
Constructed one new building and financed rehabilitation of two others.
Okay, so then revenue from these leases, if there's a profit, that pays that back, correct? And if not, if there's a deficiency, then more from that mining fund is taken to make that balance up.
Yes.
Where is the county sitting on
The total loss.
the total?
It's just under $1 million for all of the drug management buildings.
So
But
it's, so it's less than the original 3 then?
Yes, but that doesn't include the outstanding debt. We've been levying that outstanding debt onto the taxpayers.
Okay, could you explain that a little bit
Yes,
for me,
okay.
please?
So, and step in if so back when that debt was originally issued, it was issued as general obligation debt, which means you can go over and above your operating levy for that debt service that's due in any particular year.
Okay.
the initial plan was that we wouldn't actually treat it as general obligation debt, it would be treated more as revenue debt, which means the payments would be made from the revenues associated with those projects,
Okay,
the rent. So then, it was just digging a deeper and deeper hole, because, we were trying to get businesses in, so you had to keep the rent rates low.
Yep.
So then you also have to cover your operating expenses, and it just was not enough to cover the operating expenses as well as the debt service. So starting in 2017, we started placing the debt service related to those joint management buildings onto the tax roll, so that, we were no longer trying to pay that out of the operating funds of the joint management properties. So instead that goes onto the taxpayers. So, since 17, we haven't been digging as deep into, the mining funds to pay that debt service and the
Okay.
other losses on those properties.
okay. Alright, that's helpful. Alright, thanks. I'm just still trying to wrap my head around this whole financing thing, so.
So was there any accounting at that time of how much, there's this list on the back page of our packet of the properties that was for, was there any accounting of how much was applied to each one?
Yes, I do have spreadsheets that I kind of pieced together, some of this goes back, way back once, so just bear with me for a moment. I've got a couple different, spreadsheets that I've pieced together, so. Yeah, so this goes back to the 90s for the early site for Forest Industrial Park 2, maybe I can even go back a little bit further, I, found some paper,
Was there,
sorry,
sorry not to interrupt your
Okay.
thought there, but was there money borrowed at that time? Is this 3 million that we're talking about is from
Mhm.
2008, so
Mhm.
I'm just trying to wrap my head around, that $3 million that was borrowed then, how was that applied to these properties?
Okay.
They,
Like, yeah, I think I understand what you're asking, like, how much was borrowed for each of the,
right.
Okay.
And maybe it wasn't even tracked at that time, it was.
I pieced together what I could, so, back in 2008, there was. So the Forest Industrial Park 2 was about 864,000.
Which, just,
1402 Joe's was the address for that.
which
Okay.
is where one of those, the Jez building is right now?
Yeah, it's on the back, the number 6 on your back page, there, that was 864.
Yes,
So that 20,000 square feet for that price.
and then, the Dowdy Road building then was 361,690.14.
390.
Yep, and of that 3 million, some of it was used for the rail industrial park
Right.
in Tony. And then Gates was 1,078,157.40, from what I could piece, that was transferred from capital projects into those budgets.
They get the W number in it, sorry.
Oh,
390, so.
361,690.14. 361,690.14.
What was the first one?
864, $79.26.
And some of the 501 W's that went toward the Tony Rail yard.
No, part of that, the 3 million that was borrowed,
Oh, okay.
so that wasn't all, the joint
So we
management.
just, deduct whatever the remaining balance is.
Yes. And then that debt was refinanced a couple of times, so I did get from Justin the outstanding on each of those, so let me just find that document. I sent it. so the Jez Road still has 310,000 of principal outstanding. And, the interest related to that is 8,291. So Dowdy Road has 130,000 of principal and 3,655 of interest. Well, sorry, that includes the 2024, so it will be reduced by that. And Gates has 375,000 of principal and 9,756 of interest.
So Jamie, are the revenues provided for under city resolution 2008-24 being applied toward $3 million or against about 2.5?
It would be the 2.5. My understanding, because we, only consider it in the joint management buildings.
Any other questions? Jamie, thank you very much. Okay, let's move on to the enterprise center. So we've had tenant concerns, parking lot, people throwing stuff in the parking lot and not playing well in the same sandbox for a while, so.
I haven't heard any more since that email went out. Took a couple days, I think, for it to get in. I haven't heard anything. I know you talked to transit.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything from Cheryl, if I can reach out to her, but, my concern is that, we need to provide 30 days notice if we don't want that lease to auto renew. So I think, we're coming up on that because their lease is up on August 1st.
Yeah, July 31st.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You haven't heard any concerns though about, care of the building?
No,
tenants
just like
being
heating,
swamped?
sometimes it's, but they don't really complain too much about it, they make it work, they're really happy with, being out there.
Okay. So, Alan, you had sent me stuff about the leases.
Yes. Yeah, a number of those are, as Amy mentioned, coming due July 1st, August 1st for renewal.
Mm-hmm.
And this was before you gentlemen from the county were on the board, it was under the previous board. But Barefoot Painter, who occupies 3 different spaces out there, just make sure I have the right sheet here. They got increased from $3 a square foot in 2 of their locations, and I think it was $3.75 or $3.25 a square foot in the other. They all got brought up to $4 a square foot, with their renewal,
Okay.
and they were fine signing on to that. So you've got, Marshfield Medical Center, but rents some space for storage, in there. They, we can't renew them, I don't think for about another 8 months. But, just about everybody else in there is due. Most of them are at $3 a square foot for their storage or garage space, however you wanna classify it, so. Real Deal Seeds is at $3 a square foot, they actually did turn in their 30-day notice of termination, and plan to be fully out by July 20th.
Was that because of the increase in the lease?
Yeah, I mentioned to them the possibility of the increase. They didn't want to pay that much.
Okay.
Told them it wasn't a done deal, but they, just decided there was better opportunities for them, I guess.
Okay.
RCTC's bus garage space is currently at $3 a square foot, and Liberty Roofing is also at $3 per square foot for the space they use for storage of their materials. So I did, meet with And we kinda talked about, you know, trying to bring everybody in line at the different facilities, both with the warehousing manufacturing space and then with the office space. As you can see on this, the office space out there is about $12 a square foot.
Okay, that's why that, I didn't know.
Oh, yeah, the 12s there are office.
Okay, I didn't notice that location.
So, what I was looking for though is, yeah, to see if this board supported that, of trying to get everybody into that $4 per square foot range.
Why is that, why are we going that high? I mean, I don't know what the going rate is, but I mean, that's a 33% hit.
Right, I guess one of the big things, you know, you look back on the financials and enterprise.
Just trying to recoup.
Yeah, it has lost money just in operations. I know when Gary was here, he was mentioning, you know, that boiler there is gonna need to get redone before too long. That's still original to the building, which was a mid to late 90s building. So, you know, there's capital improvements on the horizon. Right now, we're breaking even on the operations side of it. I think the financials you put out for year to date this year show that we're ahead right now, but it's, you know, it's still early, and this is really the first year that we've had it full of paying tenants. We had a tenant in there who went, what, almost 2 years probably without a lease payment. That, you know, the board finally got
So
some.
let them stay for 2 years without payment.
Yeah. It was good. Yeah, kinda during the regime change, we'll call it. And then, yeah, there were other spaces in there that just sat empty and sat empty, so. The other part of Enterprise Center though is, it's been written into their lease as far back as we can tell that, joint management gives them a discount to count as in kind, which then they can use when they go to their granting agencies for operating dollars. Jamie, I don't know if you can explain that better.
Yeah, so somewhat, their payment, they have federal funding and they have state funding. And I believe the federal funding covers up to like 50% of their deficit, and there's a formula calculation to get to that deficit. And so then the state, I believe, covers like the other, or 25%. So basically it's a 25% match.
Because
overall.
these are new businesses, relatively new, getting
no.
established, or?
No, because this is a Russ County Transit Commission, so they get, the Transit Commission is really, it's a joint venture, it's supposed to be between the city, county, and Indian Head, but really the city and the county are the ones that are the fiscal agents on it. The grants all flow through the county, then the city and county levy dollars each year to contribute towards the Transit Commission. So the city county match is part of that, basically the 25% match that they have to get. But then they also are allowed to use in-kind to get to that, because they don't have really any other funding sources. So, they use volunteer hours and, in-kind rent. There's a few, we also give them the garage space over, with the forestry garage, that they use that as in-kind to meet that match. So, basically, it's historically, it's been 25% of their rent that we give them as in-kind, and we only charge them 75% of the market rate that's listed in their lease.
Okay. So this $12, is that actual, or are they really paying $9?
Yeah, then they're actually paying a little bit more than 9 because they added that additional square footage on last year, and we didn't give them any additional in-kind for that. But what we would be proposing for the lease renewal would be, you know, increasing that garage space, and then, it would be a 25% in-kind of their market rate.
Yeah, your overall revenues will be increased.
I don't have it with me here today, but, I know that somewhere in my file I've run across information indicating that 25, 30 years ago, we determined at that time that we needed $3 a square foot to come out of this.
25 years ago.
Yeah, so we're a long way from, there's just way too dig that up and bring it to a future meeting.
You want a motion on a few more rate increases?
We have new leases to approve?
Oh, yeah, be looking to see if you wanted to up the manufacturing storage space up to $4 to come in line with what was done with Barefoot Painter a couple months ago.
They agreed to it.
They agreed to it, yes. And then, yeah, it would include for our CTC that, keeping the 25% in kind. Obviously, though, your revenues are going up, so, and you can charge them that additional market rate because we're charging everybody else in
Right.
that same, so if anyone comes back and says, well,
Yep.
that seems too high, well, that's what everybody else is paying, so. You've got your justification there, and then I think the other thing that Jamie was maybe looking for in these leases, is I understand it's easier on your end from an accounting standpoint to have leases renew first of the year, every year.
It'd be nice to get them all on a calendar year basis, because it'll make it easier for this committee too, because when you guys renew those leases, you can say, this is how much we're gonna charge per square foot for office space, this is how much we're gonna charge for storage or industrial, and not have to look at leases every single month and, keep trying to get these rates consistent with one another, but they're all on different timelines, so you're constantly, kind of rolling with that.
It makes a lot of sense.
So we look to do these as either 17-month
Yep.
leases or 5-month with an auto 1-year renewal at the same rate, and that way,
Mhm.
yeah, everybody.
No, I think that's super smart.
And then,
It
yeah,
just makes sense.
future leases, we'd probably look to do the same, if somebody, let's say comes in September, it's a 3-month.
Right,
One
right.
auto renewal.
No, absolutely. It's easier.
Is that the motion you made, Jerry?
Yep.
I'll second.
You get all that?
No, I did not.
So I think the motion was to increase to set the office rent at $12 a square foot annually,
Yeah, keep that at 12.
and put the storage, $4 per square foot annually.
Get all the leases.
And, yeah, so for I think we want maybe in that motion to provide notice to tenants that we will not automatically be renewing their leases for August 1st, because we have to provide that 30-day notice, right?
Yeah,
So,
But I do have one question before we take a vote. We've got office space at 1260 for Best Enterprises. And if we're saying 12,
That's the thing I missed on them, their lease was from 2006. It needs to be updated, so I'm gonna put that in the same format as the rest of these with joint management's blessing, but their current lease is from 2006. It specifies that they make their payments to the city, which obviously that 2008 resolution directed everything to go to the county. It specifies that there's a 40% payment in lieu of taxes per square foot, which I don't think has happened for quite a number of years. So their lease just needs to get updated and kind of brought into modern times. I think it's 18 years old.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, so I think, yeah, we just put them at 12 to bring them in line with our CPC.
Okay. all right, yeah.
And yeah, clean up their lease, so it looks like everybody else's, specifies where stuff goes, who it goes to.
Absolutely.
so we maybe wanna just wait and do theirs Jan 1.
When does theirs renew?
They've just been kind of off.
It just hasn't for that long.
Yeah, we could approve the concept.
How did that happen?
They
Okay,
have 300
yeah.
square feet. Like,
Yeah,
Oh, that,
Yeah,
oh,
they
that's
pay,
true.
they pay like $300 a month rent, so.
Alright, what is Best Enterprises?
So when you wanna do
it's
office,
like food service
For the one.
is my understanding, or a food service supplier, and they're based out of the Twin Cities, so I don't fully understand why they have an office here. Senior, I don't know, Best Enterprises. I'm not certain what the reason is for it, but they seem happy having
Okay.
an office space and wanted to continue, and I chatted with them the other day, so.
Alright,
We'll let you try to check that back when you go. If he issues phone calls in the year 2024. It's night time.
But yeah, I'd be
you already made a
I
motion.
know.
So that's all encompassing, all these tenants. This
Can
one-
can we review the motion, please?
We just got it done. Motion by Miller, second by, Hutchinson, to approve office space at $12 per square foot annually, storage at $4 per square foot annually, and work to have all leases operate on a calendar year.
At the enterprise center,
Is
that
a
across the
statement we're
board?
making,
or is it
I mean,
all?
ideally, we would like to get it across the board, it's gonna take time, you know, to get.
I think
So this motion should be for specifically for the enterprise center.
Yes,
Okay.
we've got some leases for Fritz on here, and one for Gates.
So what do you want me to do?
So just put four enterprise center.
Correct.
In theory, shouldn't all the square footage, you know, rates for storage space have to be the same across all buildings?
Maybe, maybe not. Once upon a time, I had a very fancy formula, which was not unlike, how your real estate taxes are determined. It accounted for improvements like loading docks, extra restrooms. Some buildings were equipped with specialized equipment to create negative air pressure or positive air pressure. So I had little notches for each of those. And then general condition of building. We've got some World War II vintage stuff over at Fritz Avenue that just plain isn't as nice. And, I could go back and try to dust that off and find it, or maybe it's too damn confusing without it. But.
And
But
like,
it was a written formula that you could follow and come up with a number.
is that way we could justify these prices to anybody that looks at any building, we don't have to go back and, you know, well, what should the price be at this building? Or if we had, you know, a formula we could approve for all buildings, that might be, if we could do the enterprise center to get everybody on a 1 year, the same year, same schedule, start one at a time.
Yeah, so right now in Gates, you know, we charge dollar amount per square foot, and then we also charge a prorated portion of their, you know, their footprint in the building for utilities, based on like previous use utility costs or whatever, so. Yeah,
These
eventually-
tenants don't pay utilities over and above. The utilities
No.
come out of our receipts and we're paying those. That seems messed up to me, but.
And yeah, you're absolutely right, and the policy here, even if it isn't written, someday needs to be, that we try to get off that system if and when we can. It's probably an issue in the enterprise center because it was designed as a single operating unit with 7 different spaces. It's always a problem when it's done that way, and it leads to wasteful practices by the tenants. And maybe John, I don't know if you run into that in multiple unit dwellings, but if the landlord's paying the cost, then the windows upstairs are open in the middle of the night.
That's exactly right.
Well, and
Yes.
I did a calculation of the enterprise utilities per square foot of the rented space,
Mm-hmm.
because I had to do that for our lease accounting standard, and it's about $1.60 per square foot, for utilities annually.
Okay. And now, are there any vacant spots in the enterprise center right now?
Not currently.
Okay.
For the real deals.
Yeah, there will be.
Right.
I've already mentioned it to one tenant who has stated they're interested in it as an action item for approving an RFP, you know, put out for proposals, or, you know, that can get tweaked and just, you know, say at least for the first person that comes in and is willing to pay the or something, we'd like to do it. Yeah, my thoughts are, if that space is vacant, it shouldn't be for very long.
Okay. All right. So,
I have to run a kid to an appointment, do you want me to come back, I can come back at like 4, or do you have anything else?
I think you can do it. If we have questions, we know how to get hold of you.
Okay,
Thank you
thanks.
for sending those,
You bet.
informational sheets out in advance. I know that I went through them too. I think the trends are a lot better right now
Than the last couple of years that are.
Yeah,
Yes.
just keep in mind too, another thing that, you know, we just post annually at year end, the insurance is posted, we post that in June annually. But our maintenance transfers is a year end entry, so. That's another thing that, you know, you kinda just gotta keep in mind when you're looking, and thinking things look good, and they do look good, but, those entries will hit eventually too.
Okay. Alright, so we have a motion on the floor regarding the lease rates at, the Enterprise Center to bring them up to $4 a square foot for industrial and storage. You've got Barefoot is listed as industrial.
Yeah, they do some work.
In-house and then, okay,
And some people, yeah, there's.
alright, and then office rate to be at $12 per square foot. Is there any further discussion regarding that? All approved?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, carries. Alright. Let's move on to Fritz Avenue. So wasn't Marty working on the HVAC
Yeah.
for that?
I was hoping, where we would get maybe an update.
Okay,
If he comes back, come back to it.
yeah,
Find him out.
alright. Well then, Al Junior, you wanna update us on the leases there?
Yeah, so you have that same print of. Oh, yeah,
Cause then I can just put it in there,
easy enough.
thank you.
Yep. So what we were looking at here, Dahlstrom actually, came up during the previous board, and then there was discussion, I think related to the HVAC and whether the space that they use for parking trucks in to work on them, trucks and trailers or whatever, whether that was properly ventilated or not, I don't know if we ever really got that answer yet. I think between Gary and Marty, they were kind of working on that. And so in the meantime, their lease was just allowed to run month to month, which was at that $2.50 a square foot. Let's see here, Rockwell has 2 warehouses on there. Their per square foot amount is relatively low compared to the others. I think there was a consensus when they were renewed though, that they, you know, have been a good solid tenant to employ quite a few people in the community.
Mm-hmm.
And this is kind of an ancillary operation, basically just feedstock and parts for their operation. I know they locked
They
one.
keep a forklift over there or something, or?
Yeah, and then they rent a building, from the city as well, on the same campus, it's on its own city parcel,
Oh, okay.
so.
What's
Yeah.
the word that was gonna be going?
And those leases, and I can get you copies, otherwise, I'm sure, yeah, you might have them, or Jamie has them. One got renewed for 5 years, one, they only wanted to renew for a year, so they weren't sure if they would do it anymore, but they are set to step up in the annual price per square foot each year.
Okay.
So we did reach a deal with them on that. Cooper, as you see, is at $2.37 a square foot. Their lease is from 2018, so they just stand to be updated, certainly not 2006, but still 6 years is quite a long time. Mr. Reynolds' lease is locked in, and, you know, terms around the lease is that to Family Health Center. What he did there, I forget the dollar amount, was like $180,000. Basically mortgaged his house and put that money into renovating the space that Family Health Center is in. So that was essentially like a prepaid rent, and I think he rented that for 10 years. So this is the amount he pays over what he essentially prepaid
Oh, okay.
on that. And then Liberty Roofing is on there, they just rent an office. And the one office is to rent in the enterprise center where they have their storage.
So when do these renew right now?
Dahlstrom could at any time because they're on a month to month.
Yeah.
Ashley had been working with them, so I don't know.
Will they go to an annual?
That's
yearly?
what they were at. They were on an annual and just, we had.
But we can put them up on the calendar year renewal.
Yeah,
Like we proposed with the other.
you could do that, and yeah, another month at $250 isn't gonna kill us in the grand scheme of things.
No, but it works, at least in my mind's eye, it works better if we set these up so they coincide with the calendar year. The city and the county both budget on an annual basis anyway.
Yep.
And so that just, it works in lockstep with that,
Correct.
I would think. Yes, Mr. K.
So just, that $3 is more than they're paying now for Dahlstrom, but we don't collect anything for utilities there, Jamestown, so we can't see what that comes out to, but I feel like, they do a lot of actual work there, it's a fully staffed shop essentially.
Okay,
I feel like at $3, we're not collecting enough to cover their utilities.
so it shouldn't really be labeled as storage.
I
It
call it
should be.
industrial, is what it's labeled on here, and
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was
So-
looking at the wrong.
it's, I feel $3 is not enough to cover what we have in expenditures there, if we have to put in $100,000 ventilation system, I don't see how we.
Well, you don't recoup that at 15 grand a year,
Right.
not very quickly.
I feel like that is pretty low there for the space they're getting, and what they're using. And I don't know if they're using utilities, I don't know if they've got welders running all day or anything, but they do industrial work there, we're not collecting for utilities.
So if you wanna let that one, Ashley was kinda heading that one up. So,
Okay.
yeah, prefer to have her available to talk on it, the conversation she's had with them, so if you're fine holding that one another month or whatever.
Yeah, we can table that part of
We'll
it.
make her break us for.
And the Rockwell ones, I agree, those are steep low, but there's not a whole lot going on there, there's lights and a couple overhead doors that open now and again. And again, it's a big player in the area, so I think that's.
Right.
We do have to think about getting those lights in there,
Motion sensors
motion
or.
sensors, cause they leave them on and that hurts us. Isn't necessary.
Yeah, I looked it up and then I forgot the number here, we spend a lot in utilities there.
And I think Marty was looking at some options on that as well.
On some domestic metering and, yeah.
Doing the changeover.
And then, yeah, the Hooper one I think is due in November, so that one didn't need to get tackled today, but if you wanted to start down that road or start down that discussion, they've been at that $237 a square foot. They've got a little office, but what they use is primarily storage space. I don't even know if the ceilings are as high as they are in this room or not. Or with the, when you have the ductwork, it's kind of we'll get to look at it next month, so, again, if you wanna look at it first and get a feel, that one's not due for a little while yet.
Okay,
It was, 32,000 was utilities last year on Prince Avenue, so that was roughly half of the rent went to the utilities.
so the whole building was 32,000,
Right.
just the electric.
Utilities is up there, so
Utilities
I
in
don't know
general.
what all that includes, but.
Should be power, heat, water, sewer. I think anyone that gets, internet and phone does that. The building's wired for that, but they have to set up.
Yeah, they do their
they
own.
take care of that, okay.
So yeah, both those can technically hold, I prefer to hold the Dahlstrom one until Ashley is available to talk on that.
Okay.
If you don't mind.
All right, well, if everybody's okay with that, we'll just table that I just saw the paving on there, so
Yeah. and I think
no
that was-
update.
I think county maintenance was kind of overseeing, getting that. sorted,
Yeah, so we've got kind of a deficit there today, so.
Yep.
So we'll move on to the Jezreel building. So, do you guys have any kind of update on the infill building?
Yeah, we met with some more of the engineers, or their subcontractor engineers for the sprinkler system. And the gas earlier this week.
Tuesday.
Yeah, the thought is to, at least with the gas design, you know, the gas company just wants to have one meter on one building, and it'll become one building, but they did say there's an option, you know, you put the meter, and then beyond the meter, you can still split it. So, you know, it'll feed, the gas meter's at 501W right now, that's all fed and heated already. You'd run a separate line beyond the meter to the infill building, and then a separate line all the way down to the third building, and that way in the future, you know, if one tenant in the whole building doesn't work out, you subdivide it,
Mhm.
then that's when you can slap your own domestic meter in after We Energy's meters.
So those aren't cold warehouses, and those are insulated and heated
Second one's
building.
The Jezreel.
The north one is,
Yeah, that's just cold.
that one's just cold.
It'll get upgraded to be heated and sprinkled, yeah, right now it's cold. I think that's probably maybe partly due to the gas line was only out in Dowdy at the time they were both built or something.
Probably.
Will cost quite a bit.
But you also, what you touched on as part of the history over at Fritz Avenue is that the utility companies, you know, didn't want separate
Oh.
metering by space at the time that we did that.
Okay.
So that made it difficult. We originally then, I know on the power, we had little sub meters in-house meters. But then we'd have to send somebody out there to look and we didn't calculate it.
Okay.
Not that that would seem to be a great issue, but it.
It was, huh? Okay.
And part of it makes sense, if you have a gas issue and have to shut it off, it's easier just to find one shut off and have the whole building done. Instead of thinking you got it, and something over here goes up.
Okay.
Yeah, and those will be on the tour today, so you can walk those, kind of get a layout on it.
Okay, so this, I just don't feel myself like I'm up to speed on this property. I don't know what you feel, Jerry, but, so, the city is in the planning stage still of an infill building there. That the city has grant money coming, or how is this being funded? This is not a joint management
Right, yeah.
building, it's a city building that would be attached to two joint buildings.
Right, conceivably, it would be kind of like, you know, the 2008 borrowing the county did, is how I kind of foresee it.
And we're in some negotiations with two potential private tenants.
Right,
And depending on how those would come out, the city might offer to buy the county's interest outright out of the two buildings that exist there, or at least then, if not, come up with a cost share.
I think I can speak with a lot of confidence, no authority, but a lot of confidence that the county would be more than amenable to selling those two properties. Am I speaking out of turn?
So, we'll keep that in mind as we go forward.
Okay.
But otherwise, yeah, the plan right now is sales proceeds from the potential sale of the city-owned building mixed with borrowing and grant funding the city
Okay,
for construction.
alright, I just needed to get clear on that.
Yeah.
Alright,
And at this point, the city is funding all of the design and
Correct.
engineering work for the infill
Mhm.
building.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, alright. So beyond that, it's still negotiations and planning, basically, right?
Yes.
Alright. That brings us to Gates. past due rent for West Cove, how much are they in arrears?
I think it's back to May, and Jamie had that all, but yeah, we talked about that in our little meeting yesterday for the bash. And, so I got ahold of Mr. West today, and he said he's planning to come in and pay everything that he's in arrears on with his property taxes.
How much longer, I mean, are things progressing out at the bowling alley with new construction? Does he have a timeline on how long he will need this storage space, or?
Yeah, he told me today in the talk that he got his SBA approval.
Okay.
So his funding is supposedly all there. He has a development agreement with the city that's been signed and recorded here, so it's all public record now, so I'm not, speaking out of turn.
Sure.
His deal with the city is he's gotta close his financing by August first, and then he has to have the project substantially completed by December 31st of this year. So
That's a quick,
it's, yeah, very quick. He claims anyway though that he's got everybody lined up and ready to go, so
stay tuned.
that's how our agreement reads anyway, it's August 1st and December 31st. So conceivably, yeah, his stuff won't be in there beyond December.
Okay. And A&M fiberglass lease.
Yeah, so theirs is up for renewal and did have an option for an auto renew. I just have it here on my screen, so right now, they're at $220 a square foot plus $960 a month towards utilities based on their square footage, that's just how we've done these.
Yep.
And
Wait, sorry, can you, those two numbers again, 220 a square foot?
$2.20 annual a square foot plus $960 per month for utilities. And that's assuming 11,500 square feet of rented space. So the way theirs
How
has
much
been.
rented space?
11,500 square feet. The way this one was set up, and it's the same way BioOrigins has been running, is every quarter, the annual per square foot goes up 10 cents. So, this next year they'll be at $2.30, $2.40, $2.50, and $2.60.
Okay.
With the goal of hitting $3 a square foot, which has been given anyway as the listed market rate, so, it was just set up as an annual step thing, and that, dates back to when Andy was here. That's just kinda how we've been doing those, so what I'd be looking for is permission to continue that with them and bring them on to the, year lease like we did with the folks at the Enterprise Center.
How many people do they employ then?
It seems to vary.
What do they manufacture? I know it's fiberglass, but what are they?
Fiberglass, window wells, for like egress windows and basements, that kind of problem. They make a lot of custom stuff with fiberglass too. They
Okay.
don't do a lot of large
Dividers.
scale manufacturing.
Dividers for like trailers that Johnson Truck Body over in Rice Lake makes.
Yep.
They like sub out a lot of the panels and stuff to A&M.
Okay.
So how much are you doing the space for? Can you tell me one more time?
We'd continue the 10-cent increases quarterly. That's, 10 cents per square foot annual, plus their utility share, which is calculated at $960.
I thought you said, I always wanted to make sure.
So, theirs is actually 10 cents a month less than the leases we just signed with BioOrigin last month for each of those steps.
I think it was just based on where Andy had started.
Right, but also I'm gonna go, as I said with Dahlstrom, they're doing industrial manufacturing there, and $960 a month isn't covering their share of the $40,000.
No, that, the utilities of that building, the lion's share are coming from them.
Right, yeah, if we're basing that all on square footage there, if we're dividing up the utilities by square footage, BioOrigin is, and full disclosure, my wife works at BioOrigin. BioOrigin is paying a much larger share of utilities than the manufacturing place there.
And using significant significantly less.
Right.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's the system that we've got set up right now, so.
Maybe we can figure out a way to revisit that.
Yeah,
And
find
make it
ways
more
to-
equitable.
And we don't have separately metered utilities there, so, you know, we can't, and again, I go back to, that'd be the most fair way to do any of this, is if we had separately metered utilities, but we don't have that. I would say 220, starting at 220 a month, 220 a square foot, sorry, plus 960 for utilities is just not enough there. We're gonna keep getting further behind.
So do you wanna try to come up with a proposal for how to attack that for the next meeting?
They're,
Yeah.
I think we
Or you
start
think we-
charging on,
locked into it?
I think we start charging on a third of the building is tied up for the month. That's just my thought.
Can we start with swearing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you could work on, trying to get a proposal to design a way to go off the gas meter for the building and, find where all the feeds are and put domestic meters on it and start doing that.
Yeah, I don't think I would vote for leasing industrial space at less than we're leasing storage space at the same building. I don't think that's reasonable,
I don't think it is either.
so. And even if it, if we're gonna work towards separating utilities, if we got them just to what By Origin is paying, that'd be a starting point. It's only 10 cents a square foot more at this point, if it what they're expecting.
Would you want to start in there then?
Yeah, if we could mirror what By Origin is, what we just approved last month, I feel like it'd be pretty, I don't know, rude of us to give somebody else a lease a couple months later for less than we just leased other space.
Yeah.
So does it bring that back?
Yeah, it's actually 20 cents.
Well, it's-
Less than, we're starting By Origin off at 240.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right.
Is there anything that, that's in the Andy lease that locks us into it? Can't alter it?
That's what I'm checking.
Have they been there that long?
They've been there quite a while.
Probably 5 years, maybe 6.
So, yeah, you started with Mount Low because they were, new business starting.
Right, and getting something in there after 5 hours.
See if I can find it.
We probably automatically renew it, at least at the, 10 cents, every 3-month increase or whatever it is. At this point, I'd be okay with matching the By Origin lease rates.
So 240 instead of starting at 230.
Correct, is that,
Two thirty is what they roll into, 220 is what they're at today.
okay, yep,
Yeah,
yeah, and 240 is what we started By Origin at, so.
John, why don't you make the motion that you want contingent upon determining that we're not locked into something different? And then if Junior determines that we can't do it, we can't do it, but if we can, I'll second your motion.
It sounded like you just made a motion. And I'll second it, to match the lease rates that we just approved for By Origin and same building. Is that your motion?
Yes.
Second.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of setting the lease rate for A&M Fiberglass at Yates Building, the same as By Origin, beginning at 240 a square foot. Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? That carried.
Is anyone here present a member of the county property? Jerry, is that committee looking at all at finding alternate space for the sheriff?
Yeah, they've been discussed lately.
Can you bring it up or get it on that agenda? We're gonna have an issue here at some point in time with that. who's in the building, what they're doing in there. And if we tell the truth, that we could be asked to pay back that $908,000 grant, and I will guarantee you the city of Ladysmith won't pay a damn cent on that. I will guarantee that.
I know I had seen the document, I think we talked about it last month, after we looked into it. I don't, she's not here, I don't know what happened.
There was some sort of agreement from Andy Alvarado.
There were.
And we don't, and it's my understanding that was a temporary thing, and that was some number of.
The
years ago.
documentation was sufficiently vague, but it came before this body, and it was, from the records that I've seen, what we had here, it was discussed and approved, and it looked very open-ended and very seat of your pants. And that's where we're at, and that's what we're dealing with.
It's pretty clear from the city's viewpoint that the minute we had a private occupant, that they had to get out so that private industry could get in.
I understand
It
that.
hasn't been allowed to happen.
I understand that.
So, going back to earlier in the meeting, we talked about that $3 million, $1 million of those dollars was for the Gates Avenue plant there. And we had a loss there last year of $15,000 or so.
Right.
And I don't know what the square footage they're taking up there, but, and you know, the county's
And that-
transferring from the mining fund, but it's
Exactly.
coming, but it's taking away from what we could be paying down on what's left of the $375,000 principal there. And if we had a tenant in there at the rates we just approved, I think we would be instead of losing, what did I say, 15,000 before, we'd actually profit about that same amount. So it's the same difference, but I honestly don't care, cause I'm not gonna go to jail over, being done wrong. If they were paying for it in some way, and if there was some sort of justification, and, because it's free space, and if we're trying to justify that building has to, somebody has to pay for that building, and we're just kinda justifying nothing there at this point, so. I feel like there should be some sort of acknowledgement that we would be profiting on that building instead of losing on it, with the sheriff's department using that space,
No,
for free.
I get what you're saying, and quite honestly, I don't know enough about the situation myself to even speak intelligently about it.
And we talked about it once.
So, I mean, it'd be, I think if you could take it to the property committee, at least, it needs to be addressed.
We can put it on there, but there's gonna be more money out there to do anything with it. 'Cause
Right.
Jerry, I don't think you need to do a whole lot if it's true that there's a big stockpile of 6-foot or 5-foot chain link fencing that's the county's to utilize. Junior, probably a year or more ago, did some phone calls to surrounding counties to see what they do in that situation with cars that they've taken in, and the rest of them all store them outside in the chain link fence area. If you got the fence, all you need is the property.
We-
5 acres.
I remember
Okay,
you
dealing
got
with
the highway
that
shop
a couple
property.
years ago.
Yeah, I've had that discussion
They
too.
jumped from emergency management committee to the property committee to, where's the money gonna come from? It's like a battle that never gets
Mhm.
anything done.
Yep.
Well, you
One
know,
department wants it one way, another department wants another.
it'd be in our financial interest here for what we're doing at this committee to pay to put the damn fencing up, so we could rent the space of what it should bring. I'd
It's not
support
for
that
this.
if I had to, I
We need to tell another
don't
one.
know if I'd sleep.
No,
on
we
it.
can't, but we can ask that it be put on their agenda,
Would you like me to do it right now?
so. Okay.
Yeah. FS came up with police chair.
Yep, I will, cause we usually go through it before.
Can I ask one question?
Yes,
I've been in emergency services for a while. What's making it illegal? Is there's no money, no cash
The
flow on that?
grant agreement, Phil, has always said that we were awarded this grant, we the city and county, for the sole purpose of converting that building for use to promote job creation by private enterprise, not to put a government agency in.
Okay.
And I don't mean to raise my voice, cause we've always gotten along fine, but this pisses me off after this many years, in a big way. And it's my name that has gone on all the reports today saying who's in there, and it won't go on there again with an illegal occupancy. My name won't go on there. If the sheriff wants to put his name on there, then he can arrest himself and sit in federal prison. I'd be fine with that. Catch that, Aaron? Okay, calm down now. Heart problem.
All right. Is there anything more to discuss on Gates?
Yeah, we could get the work that was approved last meeting going.
Pardon, I'm sorry?
If we can get that work that was approved last meeting, going and finish up sooner rather than later, but I do understand maintenance is short staffed right now.
Yeah. Okay. Update on the joint management agreement. There's a meeting on Tuesday regarding that. So.
What's that mean?
That is a meeting with, corporate counsel from the city and the county. Junior and senior, I believe.
Yeah, I think that was more related to the animal.
I think it's gonna be a more encompassing discussion.
Okay.
And then, Ashley's gonna be there, and I get designated to be there, so. Is there anything else along that line? Otherwise, advertising for unleased spaces, so. Oh, the maintenance overs, yes. But that's,
That's kind of the,
it would have to be.
he was at the,
So, yeah, we went through, when we got that tenant out of the enterprise center that hadn't paid for like 2+ years or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
We went through this process then, advertised that available space, just via RFP, asked, so that the announcement that would go in the newspaper and it went on the city website, I think Ashley put it on the county website, so
Okay.
the public had ample time to look at it. That sheet was just kind of what they filled out. The company name, mailing address, phone email, proposed use, how many jobs would be created or retained as a result, what they would propose to pay annually per square foot, knowing that utilities are included, what their target occupancy date would be.
Mm-hmm.
And Barefoot Painter was actually the one that responded to that. They were the loan response that we got for that space. I think at that time it was, they did $375 a month. And then when they got renewed up to $4 a square foot. So we're proposing doing that again with the space that Real Deal is vacating.
Mm-hmm.
If we get it in next week's paper and run it for 2 weeks, then we can, get responses in time for the next joint management meeting, can, conceivably approve somebody and they theoretically be in there August 1st, so then you essentially don't lose out on any
Right,
of that.
right.
Just turn it right over, assuming there's not a bunch of work that needs to be done in the space. And,
Mm-hmm.
I peeked my head in there the other day, and it looks like it's in good shape, so. Last time the city covered the cost of insertion in the paper. So.
Okay.
I've got that money in my administrative budget, I'm fine doing that again. I'd like to see the stuff filled, I'd like to see the stuff cash flowing.
Right, right.
And business is growing, so.
Second. Any other discussion?
I'll just add that, I'll go through this one more time to make sure there aren't any typos those, cause I built it off the previous one I did, so it might still be a 2023, the wrong day number. Yeah, I see there's day 120 and day 119. It is one.
Okay. Alright. All in favor of approving advertising for an RFP for unit 119 in the Enterprise Center, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried? Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait a second, please. Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to do a tour of the management, joint management buildings out on Dowdy Road. At the next meeting, can we do the other ones then at the end of that meeting?
Yeah, Gates and Fritz.
Yeah.
Which side do you wanna start on, off of Dowdy Road? You wanna start at the Enterprise Center and work your way out towards 27, or start on 27 and work?
It doesn't matter to me, I mean, they're a mile apart, I mean, it's, you know,
Is anybody expecting us to get there before?
That's
like,
what I
they
was
shut down
wondering
at
with
5 o'clock?
ADF.
No, I told them all, and, yeah, they said they leave doors open for us, otherwise I've got what is essentially a master key of the mall center.
okay.
Keep it city.
Yeah, in a way. Yeah, I don't know if it works on any buildings outside the city, otherwise. maybe keep it down.
Would it be
Um, Yeah, we do, that's where I was going.
July 25th.
Is that the last Thursday, the 25th of July at 3, the next meeting, is that okay with everybody?
It's after Mardi Gras, so I should be recovering.
7:25. Okay, so we don't adjourn, we're staying in session, correct?
Yep, you just gotta let me know who motions to. Or you can.
And the time,
Yeah, you can adjourn it, but just yourself, but make sure you know.
The meeting is still public, so we have to announce it to everybody.
right, well then let's start at the Enterprise Center and work west.
Alright, so I'll meet everybody.
That's up on Barnett Road,
By the
correct?
T-ball fields. Right in the water tower.
Yeah, on the north side,
Yeah.
across from the old Norse building.
Yes,
Who's in the Norse building?
Central,